How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and I am here for my album review for As I Lay Dying's new album, Shaped by Fire. I can't believe this album is finally out now. This has been one of my most anticipated albums of this year, and at the beginning of this year, when this year first started, I was low-key hoping that we would get a new As I Lay Dying album this year, and sure enough, we did. And I'm just so stoked, guys. I mean, As I Lay Dying is definitely one of my favorite metalcore bands, and these were one of the guys that helped me get into metalcore more and more. I got into them shortly after I got into bands like Demon Hunter, and then I got into As I Lay Dying, and then We Came as Romans, and several other bands. But As I Lay Dying, man, they're the kings of metalcore, and there's just no doubt about it. So yeah, this has been the band's first album in 7 years, and yeah, I mean, that's kind of a long wait, but obviously we knew what happened with their vocalist Tim Lambesis. And this album, Shaped by Fire, seems like it's a testimony album as well. And, because obviously, Tim addressed the situation. He said what needed to be said about the situation, and, I think that he should be forgiven. And I think the majority of fans and the majority of the metalcore community does forgive Tim Lambesis. So yeah, and this album is fantastic, and I do feel like everything that As I Lay Dying has put out since Shadows Are Security have been fantastic. Their first album, Beneath the Encasing of Ashes, was okay, but their weakest album, Frail Words Collapse, was a little bit better, but I really feel like when they got to Shadows Are Security, I mean, this band has just been putting out quality album after album, and this one is without exception. They just keep continuing with that trend. This album, Shaped by Fire, does seem like it's a little bit different, but it's not much different. There's definitely some familiarity with this album that you would hear in the past As I Lay Dying albums. And we got 4 singles, of course, before the album dropped. We, of course, got My Own Grave, which was the first song we ever heard from the album. But let's go ahead and get into some of these tracks. I won't be going over every single song, of course, but if there is a song that I did not mention that you would like to know my thoughts on, go ahead and let me know about that down in the comments. So, yeah, it starts off with an intro, and then it goes right into Blinded, which was one of the singles to the album, and it's definitely a suitable single. I really like this track a lot. It's a really fun song to listen to. It's upbeat, it's heavy, it's melodic. It's got almost everything you want in an As I Lay Dying song. And I can see why they chose this song, Blinded, as one of the singles. And then the title track, Shaped by Fire. This is one of the catchiest songs on the album. I was really drawn to the chorus. I mean, everyone just sounds really good in this song, and I can see why they chose this one as a single as well. Next, we got Undertow. This is another song that I really like. It's just a really great track. I really dig the solo and the chorus, and once again, the band just does a good job with everything with this track. Skipping over to Gatekeeper, this is a song that is a really heavy song, and yeah, it kind of reminds me of something that you would hear from An Ocean Between Us, particularly the song Bury Us All. It kind of gave me a vibe of that song a little bit, which I think that song's kind of underrated, actually. But yeah, Gatekeeper, really great one. And of course, My Own Grave was the first single release for the album. This came out like last year or something as its own single, and I mean, what can I say? It's a great song. I mean, it's very catchy, it's upbeat, and I really like the way it starts, with the clean guitar that leads up to the rest of the song, and it's a really great track. And skipping over to Redefined, which was another single that they came out with. This song is actually featuring the vocalist from August Burns Red, Jake Lurs, and I really like the chemistry between both vocalists, Tim Lambesis and Jake. This song is very good. It's a pretty heavy track, but it also does a good job of balancing the melody in with the aggression. So yeah, And Only After We've Fallen is just another great track. I mean, this is a song that I can definitely see myself going back to. It's a really insane track. I'm just going to tell you that much. I mean, it's really great. And then The Toll It Takes, the closing track. This is a very suitable way to close the album. I mean, As I Lay Dying usually just never disappoints when it comes to their closing tracks. So, yeah, this is just all around a really great song. So, yeah. I felt like As I Lay Dying, they had some familiar moments with this album. That they didn't completely stray away from their sound, but this album also has a sense of difference to it. I feel like there's some songs that like I feel like they tried a little bit of different things with more. Like I feel like they took the calmness of some of these songs a little bit more serious. Not that there's any ballads on the album, but there's some parts in this album that are kind of calm, and that's kind of what you got with the album Awaken too, such as the introduction to the song on My Own Grave. So yeah, this album does have familiarity to it, but it also has difference, and that's what I really like about it. This album isn't a complete stretch away from the As I Lay Dying sound. It sounds like they just picked up right where they left off. And how does this album compare to the past work? And is this one of their best albums? Well, As I Lay Dying, I mean, it seems like they do continue to get better and better, even though I do think that An Ocean Between Us and The Powerless Rise are their best albums. But this album, Shaped by Fire, might be right up there with them. I mean, like I said, I pretty much love every album that they came out with since Shadows Are Security. And yeah, this is an album that fits very well into their discography. And I can't wait to get my copy in the mail for this album. I will be getting the CD. And yeah, this album is just fantastic. Definitely one of the best albums of the year. Probably the best metalcore album of this year. So yeah, if I were to give it a score, I'll go ahead and give it... Oh, that's tough. I'll give it a 9.5 out of 10. I don't think this album has any bad tracks. I think they're all good. Some are better than others, obviously, but all in all, this album is fantastic. So, yeah, 9.5 out of 10. It's a great album. Definitely one of the best albums of the year. And if you're an As I Lay Dying fan, check out the album. If you like metalcore, you definitely do not want to pass up on this album. It's great. So, yeah. Let me know what you guys think of As I Lay Dying's new album, Shaped by Fire. I think it's great. So thanks for watching. Take care.